Hello everyone, in today's video we will be talking about files on Windows operating system which could contain malware. I'll be ranking them from the most obvious ones to the ones which I'm certain you never heard about. And I'll also show you what you can do if you accidentally ran a file which you might have seen in this video. Trust me, there are some file types which I didn't even know about. But before we start with the video, make sure to subscribe and help me reach 10,000 subscribers. I make content about cybersecurity best practices and random themes in general like game hacking to web hacking. So please support me in this journey. The first file on our list is exe file, which I'm certain everyone knows about. Just like their name states, exe files means that these files are executable, meaning if you double click it, it will run. Please note that every file on our list will be executable, so there is no specific things victim needs to do apart from double clicking on a file that's shown in this video. So just keep that in mind as it will be useful later. Now we move on to the second file of our list, which are .bat files, which are certainly annoying, but thankfully a lot of people know that these files could impose a threat. So if I rename this exe file to .bat and double click it, you can see that the file runs and the calculator opens. If you didn't know about these files, well, now you do. And make sure to avoid any suspicious files you might receive that contain .bat as their file extension. Now to number 3, we have .com files, which are weird, and I'm surprised that this stuff even still exists on Windows. Because hear me out, when I was doing preparations for this video, I genuinely never heard about these types of files before. And I never knew that these files are executable. Because if I rename this file to .com, you can see that it behaves just like a regular exe. Therefore, this file could contain malware. I did some digging on this file, and turns out these files do very important role. .com was used as a file extension to text files containing commands to be issued on the operating system, similar to the batch file or .bat, which I've just explained earlier, meaning they're executable. The problem with this is that it was used in the 1970s, and if we scroll down, you can see that the format is still executable on many modern Windows NT based platforms. We can also find that Windows NT based operating systems use the .com extension for a small number of commands carried over from the MS-DOS days, although they are in fact presently implemented as the .axe files. So if there's a substitute for this, why then bother to have .com files still present in the first place? I don't know much about Windows infrastructure, but this one just doesn't click for me. I mean, one way attackers could use this against you is if you see like, oh, Instagram picture, oh wait, let me just be cautious and click view file extensions. Oh, it's Instagram.com. Oh yeah, it probably ain't malicious or anything, but it is. It definitely is. If anyone knows anything about .com files, please let me know down in the comments below because I'm genuinely intrigued. Now we move on to the .pif files, which are just as confusing as .com files in my opinion, maybe even more. Because if I rename this file from .exe to .pif, you can see that the files just become this weird thing looking like a shortcut or something. And the show file extensions thing is enabled, yet there is no extension on this file. And if I double click it, you can see that the file still executes almost immediately. I needed to know more about these files as well because it was so bothersome. Like, where is the extension? Why is there no icon? And why is Windows allowing random files to be executables in the first place? A program information file, or PIF, defines how a given DOS program should be run in a multitasking environment, especially in order to avoid giving it unnecessary resources which could remain available to other programs? If you have no idea what I've just said, you're not alone. But below that we can find much more reasonable explanation. The PIF file originally contained only one block of data storing the parameters needed to run under top view. These included fields like ASCII string for the window title, the maximum and minimum amount of RAM needed, and bitmaps for switches like whether or not the window should be closed when the program exits. This does paint a good picture on what PIF files are, but why is it executing? Shouldn't this just be a regular file which just stores information about another program which is executable? But in the notes of the original article, we can find more useful information. A program information file, or PIF, for a DOS-based program is a shortcut to the program executable. All settings saved in the PIF file are contained in the shortcut. This explains why the file looked like a shortcut, but if this is a shortcut to the executable I made, where the hell did the executable go? Like, I renamed the file from exe to PIF, and now it's a shortcut of an executable, but where did that executable even go? So I took this PIF file to the USB stick and tried to run it on another computer. Turns out, it still runs. How, Windows? How does this make sense? If you know more about this file, please let me know in the comments below because I'm curious and I'm certainly viewers will be curious too. And yes, please be careful next time you see a random shortcut in a zip file you downloaded, for example, from the internet because it could be infected with malware. So there are weird Windows formats which are confusing confusing to me as well. But now we come to the very important question. How do you protect yourself? See, there are various ways on how not to get infected. And I would argue that it's easier to protect yourself rather than infect yourself, if you're not being an idiot, of course. Being an idiot involves downloading random files from the internet and running them with no remorse for your computer or data whatsoever. In terms of antivirus software, I recommend Bitdefender, as it's really the only one I can think of, because most antivirus software are just bloatware and they aren't really protecting you. But Windows Defender is good too if you're careful what you do. This video's purpose is to show you file formats which you should think twice before opening, because you might not know which files are okay to be opened and which aren't. Hopefully you'll learn something in today's video, and hopefully it inspires you to be careful. If you want me to make a part 2, make sure to comment down below. Now, I said in one of my videos that I will be answering every single comment. Well, about that, see, as much as I love to engage with my community, I'm finding it hard actually to engage with every single person that comments on my channel, because my channel is growing rapidly and numbers of comments are increasing. I promise I read every single comment, but it's time consuming to answer every single one of them. Hopefully you understand, and hopefully you will forgive me for a claim I made which ended up being false. I would rather spend time I would normally spend working on videos rather than answering every single comment, so you guys can have high quality content, so just bear with me on this one. Thanks for watching yet another video of mine. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. I was planning initially to make a short about this topic, but I decided to make a longer video about it because there is no way to pack this much information in a 30-second clip. Stay safe.